Hello and welcome to anyone and everyone who's decided to watch this video. More Blockies! More Ultraman Blockies! This time it's wave 3, not wave 2. I'm skipping wave 2, at least for now anyway, because saving money and space. Maybe I'll go back and get wave 2, but there's only really 2 figures in that wave I really want, and I know both those characters get other releases later on. So I'm just going straight to wave 3, The Destined Crossroads, named after the series. All body joints are movable. Wow! Genuine license. Blockies. Fun in new blocks. Just there to confirm for people who keep thinking the name is pronounced Blokees. You're wrong. Anyway, here are the figures themselves. And we're gonna start with Ribbit. Rebel, I'm just gonna call him Ribbit. A Ultraman that, honestly, I haven't really liked so much in the fiction, but having him here as a toy, I'm really liking him. He's a real fun guy. And once again, gotta talk about the hips. This is the third set of Ultraman Blockies I've looked at, and the hips are different yet again. Because the Shining Wave I did had the joints like this, where there's like a big ball in there that you put on separately and you put the hip around. And then the first wave of the Galaxy versions did it like this, where the ball is just built into the hip and it had much less movement. Well, now they work on a completely different system that I don't want to take apart, but basically what they do is they have these little 2 balls that are like fused together, and like you put them in to the waist piece and then put the hip on over that. Don't do it the other way around. It's hard enough when you put it into the hip piece first. Put it in to the thigh piece first, and oh, you're in for some pain. You're in for some real pain, because they're on there pretty tight, but they're pretty good. They move pretty smoothly. They seem to have about as much range, if not a little bit less, than this kind of system does with the really big ball. So definitely an improvement off of wave 1, but this might actually be my favorite of the free systems so far. I'm curious as to how many different hip systems I am going to experience through this Ultraman Blockies journey. But anyway, Ribbit here. I was reading about him, and apparently he's like a robot Ultra, a cyborg Ultra or something. He's like more mechanical. It's weird. I don't really think he's served a purpose in any of the fiction I've seen him in. He kind of feels like a waste of space, but as a toy, he gets to be really fun because of his unique weapons, of his shield and his lance, and if you take them off, he does have details for the little blue things that they are stored inside when he's not using them. And as you can see, he comes with new different hands for holding the weapons, and the shield just tabs on over his arm, and he can hold his javelin in any which way. This piece on mine really likes to come off pretty easily. The other one is on super tight, so I don't know what's going on there, but I just like messing around with him. He's shockingly one of the ones I really have a lot of fun with, even though I don't really like the character. It's a unique weapon for a toy to have, so that probably helps a lot. And he's just been a fun one to play around with. He's very basic. As you can see, he is 06 of the wave with the numbering on his back, and still got the little butt on these little guys. I think they will always have that. But yeah, it's one I really didn't expect to like, but I like him a lot. And that is always happy to find more joy in a toy than you thought you would. And we will go on to his mate over here. We got Ultraman Orb, another Ultraman I'm not too big on the look of the show, but I really am liking the toy here. He's really fun to mess around with, mostly because he's got his big old sword with this weird dial in the middle for whatever gimmick Orb's show had. And yeah, it's only painted on one side, boo-hoo. But he can hold on it and have it slashing around and getting into all kinds of crazy poses. He can't dual wield it. Like, he can't get any two-handed poses. Like, he can move his arms close enough together to kind of get into a two-handed pose, but the hilt isn't big enough to fit two hands. But anyway, you can see his face. He's got this big blue line in his forehead. He's got his little ears, his back fin. You can see the titular orb as his color timer with this crazy chest detailing. He's got the black pants and the things on his legs. And another one that has been fun to just have him being around and going slashy, 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 slashy at stuff. I do have fun with him here. Just have him being like, I have the crazy sword of stupidness. Look at how stupid it is with its big circle in the middle. I am a great warrior, Ultraman Orb, yeah! Bah, 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 bah. I'm definitely pleased with him. Very pleased with this wave in general. This may be my favorite Ultraman Blokees wave so far, giving me validation to keep collecting this line. So, that is nice. It's nice to find joy in things I didn't, which would be Ribbit and Orb. I really thought they were going to be casualties of just buying the whole wave. Now let's look at Regulos and his weird head. Regulos has always got kind of a weird looking face to me. He doesn't look too Ultra-like, even though he's clearly a Ultra of some kind. And as you can see, he's got these splayed forward hands, like he's going fwa, 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 like he's palming somebody doing his martial arts moves. I think this is meant to emulate like the dance moves he does in the intro to his show, which I know are just him doing karate moves or kung fu moves, martial arts moves. He does also come with fisted hands, but I'm going to keep him with these just because they're different. And he does have the little animal prints on his arms. He's got this one and this one right here. And you can see he's got all the yellow paint going around his crest harness armor thing. He's got his own color timer. He's got the stripings on him. He's very blank, like, despite having this unique arm detailing. Like, he doesn't have that much going on him. He's almost all red. But, you know, he's alright. He's one of the weaker ones of the wave for me. Just because he's got no special accessories. He's just doing his little martial arts moves, which, I mean, that is his thing. That is Regulus' thing, and I'm glad they didn't give him needless glowy hands like a bunch of the Wave 1 characters did. But, Regulus just ain't my favorite guy. I think he's fine. I just don't, like Ribbit, I just don't completely get the point to why he exists. He feels like he's just another one to sell, and that's it. But, you know, at least he looks a little bit different in the head. So, yeah, and you can get him in some fun poses for the martial artists, so he can be ready to fight bad guys, but he is not my favorite of this wave. Now we will look at these three, and we will have Mebius, another red and silver Ultra. Very common for Ultras to just be red and silver. And another Ultra whose show I've never watched. I don't even know if Mebius has his own show or if he's like a bit player in another show. I know nothing of him in the lore. And yeah, he has no alternate hands, but he does have his arms blade laser sword thing, and it's got this little 3D thing that it comes out of. I assume that's his like changer for whatever he does. And if we get this off, you can see he has painted details of the same thing on there for if you ever want him to be unbladed, but I will keep him bladed for now. And there is his very fish-looking face with the various fins. I thought Mebius was blue, by the way. I could have sworn I saw a blue Ultra that had this kind of head and the name Mebius. Is that like another form of this guy? Is it just another Ultra who has a similar sounding name that I'm getting him confused for? I don't remember. But he's got more gray silver detailing going for him. He's got little yellow triangle points on his feet. He's got the stripes on his torso and his shoulders. And he's got a very unique looking color timer with the sideways diamond. I do like the figure enough. Again, with Regulos, he's kind of a weaker part of this wave for me. But I do enjoy him. I do like him. I like having him go like vroom, 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 with his little arm lightsaber, just swinging that around. Vroom, 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 vroom. So that is something I can enjoy at least. But yeah, he's not the standout, but he's still pretty cool. And well, this guy, on the other hand, Absolutian Divolo, however you say it, not so much. He's definitely the weak rung of this wave, if I must say so. And in fact, he is the reason why I have Junebot here to the side from the Shining Wave, because he's kind of similar to Junebot in his problems, where his armor gets in the way of his arm movement, his shoulder pads, as you can see it coming off. He's also, I was bringing up in Wave 1 how their waists come apart. That wasn't really a thing for a lot of the figures in this wave, but it is for him. It definitely is for him, and his leg armor is so bulky that his waist comes apart again, that it gets in the way of that movement. At least he's got like these little flaps for the front and the back that are hinged, so those can move just fine, and his waist came apart again. And if anything, he might be a little bit worse than Junebot, because with Junebot, it was really only his shoulders that came off. Like, his leg stuff was kind of annoying because it would get shifted around and stuff, but you could move his legs just fine. It was just the fact that his stuff doesn't stay in one specific spot on the body, and Devalio just fell over. I also don't like the way they did his eyes. They feel so lifeless compared to everyone else. Like, he feels dead. Like, this guy does not feel alive, and he was a kind of imposing villain, too, in the show, so I'm kind of upset with this. I really am not too pleased with him. He is definitely the dud of this wave. The dud, indeed. Absolute dud volio. Yeah. Yep. Sadly, the Golden Bowl Man is not the best. But there is another enemy of the Ultras in this wave, and that is, of course, our boy, good old is back. He is here. I have another toy of good old the very iconic Ultra monster here, and he has done pretty well. He's got his big shell in the back with all the white dots. He is, again, he again comes apart pretty easily at the waist. The villains are the only figures in this wave that seem to have that problem. And much like the alien Bolton from the last wave, his skirt stuff gets in the way. He's only got the printing for the stripes on one side of his legs. On the front, there is nothing on the back, so it is pure white there. And the arms have black printing on the side that goes out, but it's all white everywhere else. It's got the unique midden hands for... And then it's got the... Keep popping them open. Got the unique chest and head, and this is like 3 pieces here that slide together, and 5 pieces actually, because the horns are separate pieces. So you gotta slide the horns in first, then put the 2 together over the torso, and then you put the shell on. And I do like it. I just wish the legs could move. Like, the way the legs are so weak on this figure, but everything else, like, this part of it is all great. It's just this, not so much. So it's not like Devalio where it's a complete loss. I think Blokees did an okay job with... And yeah, I know they've got other forms of in the line later on, so maybe I'll get those, and maybe those will be better. But I still think they did an okay enough job with good old classic. And I am perfectly fine having my Blokees Ultramans fight a blocky. So, yeah. And now we have the stars of the show, the unquestionable best parts of this wave. And we gotta start with Cosmos. I brought up in the last wave how Jeed here is one of my favorite Ultras. Cosmos is my absolute favorite Ultra. So far, nothing has been able to beat him of all the Ultras I have decided to watch. He is my favorite, and I don't know if he will ever be dethroned. I just really like the look of him. He's a nice shade of blue combined with the silver. No red on him at all, and he's just got such an interesting personality. He's got that nice traditional Ultraman-like face. He's got the little gold going on in his ears. He's got his interesting little swirly color timer. It's a good-looking design, Ultraman Cosmos, and a very fun, different character, and he does come with glowy hands. They're the same reaching out palm hands that Regulos has. He's the only figure in this wave that has glowy hands as well, and I kinda get it for him, actually, unlike all those Wave 1 figures, because it's kind of like him doing his move from the show, where he's projecting the beam that calms monsters down. He can be like, yeah, and shoot his little calming beam. So I like that. I like that. They justified the glowing hands here for Cosmos. They did Cosmos well. They did my boy well. I specifically bought Ultraman Blokees mostly just because I was like, I needed Cosmos. And could I have gotten him an Ultra action figure? Yes. Could I have gotten him as a vinyl? Yes. Could I have spent way too much money and got him as a figure arts? Probably. I don't know if he has one. He probably has one. I think Cosmos is pretty popular. Like, it's not just me. I think the fandom in general likes the guy. So, yeah. I do think he is one of the best done in the wave, so that makes me very happy because I like Cosmos a lot, and it's a good toy of Cosmos. So it makes me really glad. It makes me happy I made the decision to buy this wave. And where we get one Cosmos, we get another. Whoops. With him in his second form, his Corona mode. And this is the time where I will bring up the chase figure of the wave, which I did not get, which was instead of this figure, you would get the translucent blue version of him. And again, oops. Well, now you can see what the inside of the joint looks like. Anyway, the translucent blue version of this form, which was a thing in the show, but I'm glad I got the default red version with the silver and blue swirly things around him. That makes me think of the Pepsi logo. And this one, I'm not as into this one as the regular Cosmos because that's just my preferred look for the character. But also, something's a little weird about the head here on this one for me. I don't know what exactly it is. It's just something feels off about it, but I'm not 100% sure. Like maybe it's a little bit too big compared to all these other figures. I don't know. Something off about it to me. But he's got like his little fin with the red in there. He's still got the gold in his ears. And you can see his swirl detail is right on his arms and legs. It's not mirrored or anything. It matches up with his body perfectly. So they did get it all right. Like it's all there. It's all correct. So you got your Corona Mode Cosmos. And he actually comes with quite a bit of accessories. Well, not like that much. He's not like some ridiculous collector first figure that comes with a bunch of junk that it doesn't need. But he's got chopping hands to go with his fisted hands, and he's got a beam, a spacium beam. This time it is orange instead of the Wave 1 spacium beam we got with Zero that was yellow. So he can do some beam shooting and be like, and we'll bring in Zero just as a comparison. The orange and yellow beams, have them shooting beams together. So there's that, and there's that Cosmos, my favorite Ultra, now in my Blokees collection, and I'm really happy to have him in both his modes. And we will end off things here by looking at the final figure of the wave, another absolute win here, with Ultraman Z, Ultraman Z, whichever one you're supposed to say, in his Delta Rise Claw form, his final form in the show. And he came with the option of fisted hands and weapon holding hands, so I have one of each. And he also comes with Bellarok, his trusty friend and sword, probably the best character in his show. And I really like this figure. It's beautiful. It's very well done. I thought maybe you could remove the slugger from his head, which you probably can because it was separate in the box. Like you do have to slot it in, but it's in there very tight. I don't know why you would want him to not have his slugger on because I don't think he can take his off like Zero does. But I don't know, maybe. As you can see, he has things on his shoulders. But unlike Devalio over there, or Junebird over here, they don't get in the way. Like, they have popped off from time to time when messing around with him, but you can see they're not really limiting the movement of his arms at all, compared to the other figures. Like, I can still move him around just as much as the other guys. So that's another great thing about him. And just all the great detailing here between the golds and the reds and blues. He's just such a good looking figure. The only problem is he's another one where the eyes look a little bit dead. Again, not as bad as Devalio. But overall, I'm really liking it here. Get a look at his face with his big old Z color timer. And there's his back where he's got like another jeweled thing on his back. And yeah, he's pretty plain from the rest of him, just all silver with his little silver butt cheeks. But you look at him from the front and he's like, yes. And look at Bellarok. Look at him. He's here. He's in two pieces. There's no real reason to separate him. You can't do anything with the head. It'd be cool if the mouth could open, but no. It's just the sword, and you can have him hold it the other way around if you want, so he can wield it in more of a traditional way, but he primarily holds it up anyway, even when he's in combat, so I'm gonna just play around with him like this mostly. And yeah, we can have our little Zet and Bella Rock buddy comedies in our playtimes in our blocky shelves, and yeah, that's really cool. It definitely, like, Cosmos, I like Cosmos. Cosmos is my favorite Ultra character. I like the figure a lot, but Zet is definitely the best figure of this wave. And overall, this is great. Devalio is upsetting with the is not as great as I would have wanted him to be, but he's still fun. Overall, I'm very impressed with this wave of the waves of Ultraman Blokees I have had so far. This probably is my favorite one, and of course, it's an Ultraman video, so we gotta acknowledge Dinosaur Tank! Not a Blokees, but it doesn't matter. Blokees make a Dinosaur Tank! We will never do an Ultraman video without acknowledging the greatness. The greatness is Dinosaur Tank. The greatest character in all of fiction. Just had to do that. It's required. Again, great wave. Wave-free Ultraman Blokees, Destined Crossroads. Just overall, really good stuff here. This is like the one to get, probably, if you're on the fence. I say try this wave. Try it out. So, I think I've been rambling on enough here. So thank you all for watching, and see you guys around.
Listen up, everyone! Ultraman Zero is here to tell you that you should subscribe to this channel. After all, you don't want to be 20,000 years too late to see the next great video.